Hey, what's going on? Hey, baby. It's the Monday Morning Podcast. Yes, I'm singing a little bit of Tom Petty. I was lucky enough to be at the Florida Gators game in the swamp against the LSU Tigers. And that fucking SEC football, 80,000 people, whatever the fuck it is, going absolutely ape shit. And they had this great tribute, which I'm sure some of you saw the clips online of the whole stadium saying, "I won't back down." It was fucking odd. You know, it sucks the guy died. You know, but he leaves all that great music and all that. It's a great fucking, that's a great life. You know what I mean? Considering all the shit that fucking happens nowadays, the fact that that guy was able to make it into his 60s, at the very least, still sucks he died, you know, but whatever. It was fucking awesome. You know what's hilarious is if you were there, everybody sang the shit out of that first verse, and then when the second verse came along, you saw the radio fans and then the real Tom Petty fans, right? Everybody knew the first verse. Well, I won't back down. No, I don't know the words. Stand my ground. And then all of a sudden, everybody knew the words. And hey, baby, right? And then it gets to the second verse. Listen to it. Everybody's just kind of, everybody's just waiting for that. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out, right? So, anyways, we went to the swamp out there in Gainesville, Georgia, where Tom Petty is from. Evidently, I didn't know that till he died, and I knew he was from Florida. Yet another great musician from Florida, right? You got all the fucking Allman Brothers from down there. You got Tom Petty. I don't know where the Heartbreakers are from, but you know, I mean, he met them, so they had to be somewhere near Florida, right? Somewhere in the fucking lower 48. But Jesus Christ, did that stadium, Ben Hill fucking stadium, a.k.a. the Swamp, did that thing ever live up to its fucking name? My God. We had upper deck seats, and it was just fucking, it was ridiculous. First of all, we go up there, and they had like the aluminum seats up top, just like the old Patriots Stadium, you know? And if you stood up during the wintertime when everybody had the big winter coats on, if you stood up too long after a good play, or most likely a disappointing play back then, when you went to sit back down, you lost your seat, and then you were just sort of standing up. You couldn't sit down, and then people would pelt you with hot dogs and fucking snowballs and all that shit. And you know what you did? You laughed, and all your friends laughed at you. You didn't have a cell phone to make a video and turn yourself into a victim, you know? So, anyways, we were sitting up there, and you literally had to just walk back into the tunnel. And with all that heat coming off the field and all those people there, like literally where you walked into the stadium became like a wind tunnel. So, and I was going out there, man, and I'm going to tell you right now, there was a bunch of people just fucking sitting down, all shapes and sizes, all ages, from kids all the way to old people, just sitting down like, yo, I got to take a good fucking 10-minute break here, or I think I'm going to fucking die. And then mercifully, the sun started to go. By the way, it's October. It's October. It felt like fucking August. And the sun finally went down, and it was a great game. I know, you know, the Gators were missing their starting quarterback, and I also know, obviously, LSU had that horrible fucking loss last week to the Trojans, Troy. And so it was a big win for them. It was just it was a great game. Unfortunately, that kid missed that field goal. Everyone's chanting his name, Eddie, Eddie. You know, I don't know what happened. The fucking kid missed the extra point. Which kind of sucked because I would have loved to see an overtime. But there was this one LSU fan, this old guy. He was fucking hilarious. Even like Gator fans, as annoying as he was just this old guy, and he would do these stupid dances whenever LSU had like a big play. He looked ridiculous and was making a complete ass of himself, all the while having the best time of his life. And I don't know. It's just one of those great fucking moments. Why you go to sports and all that shit. And you know, we had a great time. We didn't even pay for fucking parking either. And then we found out why afterwards, because we were so buried in. But it was just awesome to finally go there. Legendary school, legendary fucking field. And I actually learned this about that field. is that field is in like the top 20 biggest stadiums in the United States. Here they are right here. Michigan, number 1. Number 2, Penn State. Then Ohio State, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, University of Texas, USC, Georgia. That's the top 10. Then UCLA, the Cotton Bowl, Nebraska. Florida comes in at number 14. And I was pretty psyched. As far as the top 10, I've been to every fucking one of those stadiums except for Penn State and what's the other one? Michigan, Texas A&M, Tennessee. I haven't been to Tennessee. Here's an interesting question Paul Verzi asked me on the ride back. He goes, do you believe in destiny? And I told him no. He goes, no, I'm just asking. Like, do you believe, like, Michael Jordan was destined to be the greatest basketball? And I was like, no, I don't. I don't. And he was saying that he did. That he believed that it's just, you have your destiny, and whatever your destiny is, like, that's what the fuck your destiny is. And I just don't believe that. I don't. You know what I mean? I think you're born with the talent, and if you work your fucking ass off, you can make it happen. However, how fucked up the world is, there's a bunch of people that can take your destiny away from you. Like, you can fucking have, your destiny is to be whatever. You're going to be a doctor and fucking blah, 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 blah. And then you go out one day, you drive down the street, and you get hit and by a drunk driver, and you die. So, like, that was your destiny was to get hit by a drunk driver? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think if the world was a perfect place, everybody would reach their potential. But, I've said this before. Like, the world doesn't give a shit about your dream, whether it comes true or not. It fucking sucks. And even if you make all the right choices and all that shit, some fucking lunatic can, take it away from you. So, see, this is why I don't talk about that shit. All you cunts asking me about it. I don't want to fucking talk about it. The world is depressing enough as it is. I know this has been like a fucked up podcast because I'm trying to talk around a lot of shit, and and yet another one of my fucking friends died, coworkers died, and it's just fucking sucks. It sucks. Ralphie May, the great Ralphie May, unfortunately passed away this weekend, and just legit fucking murderer. That guy just fucking killed. He killed him the first time I saw him. I think it was it the late 90s when he came out? I believe it was the late 90s. He came out, and there was already another comic there, bigger guy, Ron Lester, who also has since fucking passed away, unfortunately, which I didn't even realize. He died last year, so rest in peace to him. And, those big guys had to deal with, like, clubs. They kind of had this thing where they just, they had their big guy comic. And so it was, like, weird. They almost were, like, in competition with each other. And then Ron ended up getting all this acting work, and he just sort of stopped doing stand-up. But Ralphie came in and was a force to be dealt with. And, that just fucking sucks. Remember, he was always telling me he was going to teach me how to smoke meat or whatever like that, because he was just going, you don't know how to do it, Bill. He's like, you're from fucking Massachusetts. I'm from Tennessee. I'm going to show you how to do it, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, we both got busy. We never got around to doing it. And I know he's got 2 little kids. So I imagine someone's putting together a benefit somewhere for it. So I imagine I'll be doing that. But, yeah, it was just a fucking sad time. God damn it. I remember I did the Traveling Virus tour with him. I did a lot of gigs with that guy. Like a lot of those sort of, I don't know. He was much younger than me. Not much. I'm 49. He was 45. We came up roughly. He started younger than I did. That's what it was, because we both kind of started at the same time, I want to say. So he was always as seasoned as I was. So I always felt like we were the same age, even though I was older than he was. So as we went up, just a lot of comedy festivals, a lot of tours. The tours always got better. He was the guy, I told you this. Ralphie May was the fucking guy. I remember I did this gig, Chilkoot Charlie's, which is a great gig, but their fucking accommodations was the worst accommodations I ever had. It was up in Alaska, and I showed up, and the bed literally was broken. And it looked like the bed bugs, like, left. Like, they couldn't hack it. We're like, fuck this. And I remember the boards were busted, and the mattress was like fucking, it had a giant crease in it and shit. And I was, raised Catholic or whatever. So rather than expressing that you didn't like it, you just took it. And just was like, all right, I got to be tough. I got to fucking, I told you, the first night I spent in fucking my walk-through bedroom, my first night in New York City, I felt this thing on my chest, and I turned on the light, and there was a roach crawling across my chest, and I flicked it off my fucking chest. I didn't even kill it. I just thought it was like, oh, this is what I gotta get myself tough enough to handle this. Like, I'm gonna live with bugs crawling over me. Yeah, I'm a fucking lunatic. I don't know what. So anyway, so I do the gig, and I stay in that shithole. So I end up going down to the Laugh Factory like a week or 10 days later, and I walk in. Ralphie was always hanging out. Always did the work, and I came down, and he was just like, hey, Bill, what's up? I say, hey, man. He goes, where you coming from? That's what we always asked each other. There was certain guys, that were just road dogs. Hedberg, Ralphie, Stanhope, Geraldo. Like, these were the guys. Every time I went to a fucking club, they either were just there or they were going to be there the next week. When I was coming up, we were all kind of closing the same rooms. Like, Hedberg was a little bit ahead of me, as was Stanhope. They were roughly my age. And those were guys that I really looked up to as far as, like, they started a few years before me, so they were just sort of cutting this path. And their style is like, I want to do that. I want to say what the fuck I want to say on stage. I don't want to do what they're doing. I want to, be who the fuck I am the way they are was basically it. So anyways, we used to always ask each other, where you coming from, where you going or whatever, right? Whenever I ran into any of those guys. And so I run into Ralphie, and he goes, where you coming from? I was like, I did that gig up in Alaska, Chilkoot Charlie. He's like, fuck, I did that gig. Great gig. I was like, yeah, great gig. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I go, how about that comedy condo? And Ralphie got this serious look on his face. He goes, oh, I didn't stay there. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I took one look at that place. He goes, I'm not staying here. And they got me a hotel room. And I just looked at him and I said, you can do that? And he laughed. He goes, yeah. He goes, what the fuck are they going to do? He goes, it's Alaska. Are they going to get another fucking comedian to fly 6 hours all the way up there? Have some lumberjack go on stage and tell some street jokes? He's like, just say no. And that was one of those things I fucking learned. I was just like, all right. And after that, if I went someplace, and it was a shithole, I just said no. And if they just said, we're not paying for a hotel room, I said, you know what? I'm going to pay for a fucking hotel room. And it was worth it. To just be able to go back to a fucking place where you felt safe and you didn't feel like there was going to be bugs crawling on you or somebody jizzed all over the fucking bar, or God knows what, fucked some chick on her period. I'm not even going to tell you that fucking story. Every comedian knows that fucking one. That goddamn fucking crime scene. Cleaning lady quit. And the big rumor was the bloodstains were still on the fucking windowsill. I swear to God, this is not myths. So, God damn it, Ralphie. I'm going to miss you, buddy. Fuck. Anyways, all right, let's get into some... Now that I've talked about another dead friend, let's talk about some advertising here.